Welcome back to Click Talk. Today, Baiju and I are talking about mergers and acquisitions, typically a very exciting process for a business owner. But in the IT world, there's a lot of fine details that we can really help you walk through and navigate the process to make it harmonious. We've been talking about governance. We've been talking about IT due diligence. Let's talk about infrastructure a little bit. What do you look at when you look at an infrastructure? You've been brought into a merger and acquisition. You're trying to evaluate, this can be replaced. This should be kept. What's your approach to that?
I think it all starts with kind of understanding the parent company's systems, because if they're an all cloud shop and then you have an all on-premise shop, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge to integrate those two people or those two companies. But usually I'll start with their 365 or whatever their email provider is, if it's Google Workspace. That's kind of the basic communications method. And then we'll dive deeper into their Active Directory, what sort of servers they have. Are they hosted in their office? Are they hosted in Azure? Are they hosted in a data center? And then start really looking to make decisions. And I think the other thing that also plays a big factor is, what are the age of this equipment? What operating systems are they running? What is their overall strategy? I mean, are they in the middle of a project of trying to move to the cloud, or are they, at stage 1 of 10 of moving to the cloud? So really looking to see where that company is, and then, where they're trying to go, and how does it fit into the overall architecture of the parent company as well.
Right, and time horizon matters too. If we're on a short time horizon, day one may just be, hey, let's get their M365 integrated.
Right.
Day 30, day 60, we can have a plan for migrating their servers to the cloud. So the time horizon comes into play. We don't want to break something on day one. Day one, we want to be seamless, people working easily. So when thinking about infrastructure, we usually map that out depending on how much time we have for the integration, right? Of course. Okay.
Yeah, no, just to kind of, what I always like to do and what I've learned from experience is get that email communication method migrated to the parent company as soon as possible. We found that to be the most value, because if they can communicate well together, like you said, their systems can kind of live separately because they may have their own line of business application, and obviously migrating that from one company to another. But with the tools in place to migrate 365, it's a pretty standard system. That's the thing, low-hanging fruit. Get that done. Make it like you're one company. You're all in the same teams. You're all in the same global address list. So I think that's a big win we can take. We can tell the executives like, hey, we're all on one team.
Right. Can you think of any examples where infrastructure decision was costly, where maybe we tried to migrate too quickly or some kind of problem in that area?
Yeah, kind of too. We had a customer where they acquired a company. The other company was on Google Workspace. This was a M365 shop. Actually, they had an on-premise Exchange server at this point in time. And they just delayed moving that Google Workspace into 365. And as we know is Google, Microsoft, they're always layering on more and more services to their stack. So, when they finally did do the migration, it was extremely disruptive, and people on the other company were like, why do we have to do this? Whereas if you would have done it in the first 6 months or the first few months of the acquisition, people understand we're getting acquired. There's going to be change. It's going to be disruptive because everything's changing. Your payroll's changing. A bunch of stuff is changing. So this is just one more thing that's changing. So, number one, there was a lot of resistance from the company that had to change. And they're like, why are we doing this 3 years after the fact instead of doing it? So
yeah, that acquisition window, everyone is in their heads, okay, we're going through this big transition.
Right.
And if you don't strike during that time, you lose the employee buy-in to be flexible about the change, and you're going to face some grumpiness. So you don't want to rush things and break things unnecessarily, but we want to take advantage of that acquisition window, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
All right. Wonderful. So that was us talking about infrastructure. Next, we're going to talk about identity issues. So stay tuned. If you're in this process, any suggestions, Baiju, what we would say to anyone?
Don't forget about IT. If you're thinking about how you're valuing this company, how you're going to integrate the operations, remember, IT is a critical part of the operations. So, and don't shortchange the work it's going to be to integrate the IT operations, because it always costs more disruptive, and more time, or it takes more time than any of the executives that are typically involved in mergers and acquisitions.
Right. And the user satisfaction gets really suffers.
Yes.
And everyone feels it.
Yeah. Any sort of integration is going to be some sort of user disruption. So, just kind of getting ahead of that when they're in this transition 30, 60, 90-day window, when people are not amenable to changes, but are just getting changes from all over. I think that's a great time to put in as many IT changes as possible that will not be extremely disruptive.
Great, thank you. That's the end of this section. Join us in the next chapter where we talked about identity.